Okay, so this is part 2. I started a new recording with the P1000. I just thought I would have it so it's on. My sound probably won't be as good because there's quite a bit of wind coming from the direction of the microphone, but I thought I would record it anyway. So I've got that. So when we look at the power system of the world, we've got people that are toxic. They're undernourished and toxic with a lot of chemicals that are in the food, water, and air, and more. One of the other reasons why I believe that we don't have predominantly concrete construction is because it's much more difficult for frequencies to go through, like cellular data, cellular reception, cell phone reception. You can test that out by walking into a stairway or an elevator inside a hotel. Probably not going to get much reception there. So the wire, steel reinforced foam insulated panels are very good to protect you from that. And so when things heat up, even when they activate the ether, the atmosphere, that would be protection from that as well. I'm going to move us over a little bit here so that you can see a little bit more of what that looks like with the water running the path that it is now. Ah, there's a loon, some kind of a bird up there. I hope he's okay. I'm gonna zoom in on him. Hard to tell. What I'll do, I'll zoom in with the phone here so you can see him up there. Now that's 10 times zoomed in. And with the P1000 I can zoom in real tight. I don't know if he's injured or something. Looks like the sun is going to pop through the clouds soon. The time for the sun appearing at this location was 6:02 a.m. And it's going to be that way for a few days now. You can look at the Tides Near Me app. It's very accurate. I've been able to confirm in this location the tidal activity, when the sun and the moon appear and vanish at this vantage point. I say it that way technically because we're not spinning to see them. We're stationary. God's word says that this is a stationary earth, that the sun, moon, and stars move above it. Knowing that makes a difference. Now, Elon knows, I'm sure, that we're not on a globe. And I'm sure he knows he's faking humanity with launching a Tesla car into space. That's all make-believe. That's all science fiction. It's not real. So in the discussion of the energy shortage or the energy crisis, if we have structures that take a fraction of the energy to climate control, that would be extremely helpful. Then if we had batteries in houses to smooth out the distribution and consumption curve, that would make a lot of sense. And then one of the other things is not all the energy usage in the house has to be 120. You could have lower voltage lights, you know, like lithium flashlights. I've got a lot of lights that are not 120 volt. I need to have a converter to charge them, you know, to charge my computer. So, you know, there's details with that could be done. When Y2K when we were approaching the turn of in 2000, we didn't know what was going to happen. We had a son that was a few years old. I wanted to make sure that we didn't freeze to death in Wisconsin. And we had 2 other sons too. You know, we had 3 sons under the age of 10. So I wanted to make sure that we were providing a safe habitat for them and have plenty of food and energy stored up. LP gas, liquefied petroleum gas that we could heat the house with, as well as fuel oil and gasoline, bulk tanks of gasoline, and about 85 face cords of wood. I chopped a lot of firewood. I would chop wood before I'd go in and work. I worked about 55 hours a week doing my job at Rawhide Boys Ranch, and probably another 35 to 40 hours a week chopping firewood for a couple years. We didn't know what was going to happen. So I was very passionate about providing for my family. What we found out is they sure moved a lot of tech stocks and technology, implemented a lot of infrastructure electrically. They could say, hey, we need to get all these switches in to protect us from the date change. Well, it could have been AI just tricking people into installing a lot of technology that it can operate remotely. AI could sever the power generation and distribution anywhere in the world that God allows for however long He allows. Keep in mind, people are born, they live and die. That happens over and over again. We see it again and again. We're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. 3 people per second have that experience, the human experience, end. With that in mind, are you ready for that? Are you born again? That's why I talk about the need to be born again, and I thought I was over 30 years ago until I actually was on Reformation Day of 2014, also known as Halloween, when the blood-drinking, human-sacrificing Satanists celebrate their wicked master, their satanic leader, Satan, Lucifer, the fallen one. And just to let you know, on Instagram I was solicited by an Illuminati to join the Illuminati. I'm sure a lot of us have had that happen. I'm following that individual. It doesn't mean I'm obeying him, of course. I sent him my like video playlist talking about, you know, what I do, who I am. I'm zoomed in on the sun and apparently in the midst of the clouds, just as Job 37 says. Depending on the cloud density, it's more interesting and more obvious than other times. The sun is definitely not 93 million miles away. That's absurd. It's as ridiculous as landing on the moon. That's not real. Or living on a spinning globe. That's not real either. It's all science fiction. And they'll couch it in about a lot of words that people don't understand, or they'll throw gravity out. It's the big G that makes their whole lie work for the indoctrinated. In the gospel, in the book of Joshua 10, God stopped the sun from moving. He didn't stop the earth from spinning. Now, a lot of people might say, hey, they were fishermen and sheep herders. They didn't know any better. That's not true. They were inspired by God to put down and write what He wanted them to. That's how that actually worked, just so you know. So I'm trying to zoom in appropriately to show the tapestry of lights and shadows that would be impossible if it weren't a really close sun. Very close. In the clouds. Means not 93 million miles away. Take a look at the lighting. You'll see it on the video later if you want to hop back in. If you hashtag local sun, you'll see it. I catch this happening, this occurrence, quite often. It's fascinating. I've got a video called Local Sun. It was shared by Infinite Earth, Flat Earth Research. I shared it on my channel and on Facebook. It's all together over 700,000 views. In that, I mentioned it takes less than a day to hear the entire New Testament. It's less than a 7-minute video. You can watch it if you like. A lot of people have. Because of my activity in the truth movement, I've been seen and heard by over around 40 million times. I know a lot of video gamers, a lot of Logan Paul and PewDiePie viewers and more, but also the AI, the artificial intelligence. I'm sure Elon Musk has seen or heard me, whether he realized it or not. Joe Rogan apparently thinks I'm an idiot. Well, at least he's watching. One of his admins from his page said, "Hey, I'm going to have to block you." It hasn't happened yet. I was sending my stuff there, my broadcasts. I'll probably hashtag Joe. I would have no problem being on his show if he wanted me there. I wouldn't be smoking any weed with him. Hey, you know, being set free from a life of addiction, including marijuana and alcohol use and pharmaceutical modification and all that, being set free from all that is one of my evidences that something really significant happened to me. All I previously had was my original equipment. The upgrade that I got wasn't an injectable or an implantable chip. It was the Spirit of God taking up residence in me, giving me a love for the truth and the pleasure to enjoy obediently walking with Christ, Him empowering me, even in the midst of a lot of people not liking what I'm about and what I'm doing. Now, what I'm going to do here, I'm going to zoom in on a young family that's been out here doing photo ops, and precious little family. Isn't that something? They're doing a photo op out there. And that's pretty common here. People will come to the beach and take family pictures. A lot of times they'll ask me if they see me with my rig like this out here. They'll ask if I'll do it. We've got the joggers, the dog walkers, the singles, widows, widowers, people looking for relationships, all of that. It's a symphony of humanity. Expecting mothers, mourning parents. I'm outing the pharmaceutical and vaccine industry, big pharma, the corporate banking system of the world, creating money out of thin air. So if I haven't offended you yet, that would be great. Not that I'm trying to offend you. I know I offend AI in the 1%, I would think, unless they think, well, we'll just keep him around for entertainment. I don't know. But I'm not afraid to live, die, or tell the truth. I'll just keep on doing this. I've contacted the concrete construction companies, Treaty Panel out of Florida, and then the RSG out of, they're in New York and California. You see, if you had one of those panel constructed concrete houses, it's impervious to wind, rain, fire, earthquake, all of that. Virtually disaster proof, depending on how elaborate you want to get with it. Wow, what a beautiful day. I'm zoomed in around the sun in such a way that, to me, it's obvious that the sun is in front of some of the clouds. And I've got many occurrences of that, like I say. The lighting, the shadows that are created by the clouds, you can see it, or I can see it. I hope you can. What it indicates is that God's Word is true, and the scientific community giving us individuals like Stephen Hawking supposedly presenting unquestionable truth and reality. Einstein, was Stephen Hawking a robotic cyborg? Was he an automaton like Disney makes for the people walking through their theme parks that have lifelike renderings of Abe Lincoln? And heck, I don't know. How could I know? I just know they're lying, and I'm telling on them. That's enough. That works for me. So to be clear, when a known deceiver is found out and they've been exposed, why would you believe them anymore? I know I won't. It's not that everything that NASA says is a lie, just most of it. That's enough to know. So when people regurgitate information like the temperature of the ionosphere, the troposphere, the thermosphere, I'm like, yeah, how do you know? We had trouble sometimes getting our children to take a thermometer in the mouth, so we had to get creative. That was before they had the ear ones. You had the other one that you would insert somewhere else. How about that? Well, how do people know what the temperature of the atmosphere is in a region that NASA is saying a certain temperature? You can't verify that. I can't even verify the tidal activity in Charleston right now. I'm in North Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Tide's going out. It's about 8:45, it'll be low tide. While the crepuscular rays, as they're called, look so beautiful shooting through the tapestry of clouds. One of the reasons why we don't have daylight everywhere in the world is because the sun is much smaller and much closer to the earth. That's the why of it. Look at the way the rays are coming through. It's going to be a pretty spectacular P1000 recording. I'm going to zoom on in and show you how some of the hot spots, not just of the clouds, where it's shooting through and hitting the sand. And then there's all the tapestry of humanity, the symphony of humanity, walking on the beach. It's going to be a little bit more challenging here. They're going to be implementing paid parking, so I'm going to have to get creative. I've got a motorcycle that I can park in a lot more locations, and I might park my car at the Walmart and ride my bicycle from there. It's like a mile away. I could do that. I'll find a way. I'll come to the beach. I love it out here. But apparently $2 an hour, I would spend about $1,000 worth of parking fees if I were to do as much on the beach as I have. I think down at the point in Cherry Grove is not technically going to be enforced that way or charged. There's places that I've parked that I'll still be able to park, apparently. And then, of course, the guests, the 20 million guests we're expecting or so this year, will have their hotels that they're staying in, so they've got parking there. One of the other options I was looking at was a lithium-powered motorcycle or bicycle. But they've actually got lithium-powered motorcycles that can blow away a gas-powered dirt bike. I think it's even on some of my liked videos. I put it out there so you could look at it. I raced professional level motocross. I had those level skills. I didn't make money racing dirt bikes. I spent a lot of money doing that. But I had some really special skills in that. Well, they have bicycles that'll go over 50 miles an hour. A bicycle, lithium battery and electrically powered bicycle. See, the people that create money out of thin air can have all those kind of accoutrements, toys. They got a lot of toys. But keep in mind, what would it profit a man if he gained the whole world and lose his soul? When I was at Oshkosh, Wisconsin at the college, there was a guy who showed me the Masonic ring, and he said you can get anything you want with this. I never pursued that. Never pursued that. I won't be pursuing that. I'll just do what Jesus created me to, and everybody else can deal with that. So yeah, a few minutes from now, I'm gonna end the broadcast and run on home and upload the video that I just shot. Pretty spectacular sun appearing here. The flood that Noah prepared for, God opened up the floodgates of heaven and the fountains of the deep and caused it to start raining. That's how come it flooded over everything. Over the tops of all the mountains. Right now we've got Mount Everest 5.5 miles tall apparently, but there could be taller mountains we don't know about. I can't go flying around the world trying to find everything and to check out the cartography, see how that's map making if you don't know. I don't know where everything is. I know when I've flown and they say we're leveling out at 37,000 feet, it felt like they were slowing down. Like we're going really slow. I don't know. Everything could be a lot closer. Could be. How would I know different? Used to live in California. I've flown from coast to coast. We've flown from California to here to enjoy vacations. The plane time, the time in the air, was about the same in either direction. So there was no consideration for a supposed 1,038 mile an hour rotation. Yeah, you can talk about the Velcro atmosphere and gravity all you want. And I'm just going to say that's not true. That's not reality. You still believe Santa is delivering presents and knowing what you're doing behind closed doors. All that's a lie. When we were kids, we believed it, most of us. I know I did. And then that lie was traded for another one. When I was 7 years old was when the moon landing hoax happened, and I found out Santa Claus wasn't real. How about that? And I didn't realize the moon landing was a hoax until about a decade ago. I was too busy dealing with life to even really give it much thought. And that's where a lot of people are. They don't want to be interrupted with that. I'm going to cover a couple other things. One of them is the water in front of us here that we're looking at is combustible. It's hydrogen, H2O. Oxygen's a catalyst, hydrogen's combustible. There's coming a fire, not a flood, to incinerate this whole experience that we're looking at. To the destruction of even the elements. You can listen to God's Word. The New Testament takes less than a day to hear. 19 hours, 77 to hear the entire Bible, and less than 4 hours to hear the book of Enoch. I'd recommend that too. I've got it on my liked videos. I like what I produce as well. I've got an audio Bible merged with the beauty of creation. It's playing at home right now through the Google Chromecast. Give AI something to listen to. How about that? Isn't that special? How about Mark Zuckerberg? Is he completely human, or is he augmented? Does he have implantable technology? I certainly don't believe he was eating ramen noodles and thinking about leaving college to design the most sophisticated information storage and assembling, self-assembling network of observation of humanity. Not just observation, control. The social media of the world has, like I've mentioned earlier, it's a cybernetic collective of consciousness. The people's conscious thoughts are being manipulated and focused by high-powered computer technology. And that's working in concert with the toxification of the food, water, and air. And further electronics that are inundating humanity. We're living in a sea of electrosmog. That's the electricity, that's wireless and cellular technology, and more. HAARP, H-A-A-R-P technology, ionospheric heaters, there's lots of them in the world. How many, I don't know. And a lot of the different things that we're told are lies. Satellite imagery is high altitude photography. Satellite phones, they're just using, probably just bouncing signals off of the firmament. You can explore this if you care to, or like I've been heard saying to, or just scroll on by. You can call me anytime you like, if you want to. You can use Facebook Messenger. YouTube Truth is my Skype handle. I'm going to put my sticker up there again for you. Also on Instagram as Robert J. Forsch. And I've cross-pollinated quite a bit, so that information is there, and my phone number is 1-843-504-1776. You can call anytime.